Have you ever woken up with a feeling of sheer exhaustion, even after getting enough sleep? A strange fatigue creeps into your mind, making you feel anxious without knowing the reason why. In the midst of this hectic life, we constantly seek relief through hours of aimless scrolling on our phones, burying ourselves in work, or trying to distract ourselves with temporary pleasures. Yet, after all those efforts, there remains a vast emptiness and an unfillable imbalance within you. If you are feeling this way, please stop for a moment. In reality, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken, nor are you weak. It is simply that your energy, thoughts, and emotions have temporarily forgotten their inherent harmony. You are being disconnected from the greatest physician hidden right within yourself. The Buddha once taught, "Within this very body lies the world, its origin and its end." This is a profound truth that we often overlook. The true remedy for all pain does not come from external influences, but is awakened from mindfulness, from the way you think, your breath, and your perspective on life. Healing is not about fixing something that is broken, but a journey of returning to the wholeness that has always existed within you. In today's video, we will explore 10 ancient Buddhist rules to activate your self-healing power. These are not distant dogmas, but doorways opening to the natural wisdom of body and mind, helping you calm the storms of the heart and rediscover the silent strength that has always resided in the depths of your soul. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because what you are searching for is not located somewhere far away, but is a homecoming right within your own heart. Heal with truth. The true power of recovery does not begin with expensive remedies, but originates from a simple yet courageous virtue: honesty with oneself. There is an immutable law in spirituality that you cannot heal what you refuse to see. In the modern world, we often fall into the trap of sweet deception. We strive to please everyone, wearing a mask of toxic positivity and forcing a smile even when the heart is bleeding. You tell the world and yourself that I am fine, I am still okay, while inside your mental structure is gradually collapsing. Emotional suppression never disappears. It only transforms into chronic tension in the body. When you deny pain, it sinks deep into the muscles. When you pretend to be strong, fatigue permeates every breath. The Buddha once taught that there are 3 things that cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. When you turn away from your own truth, the soul begins to fracture and the body will sound an alarm through aches or invisible exhaustion. Imagine a young monk standing by the river at dawn. He has spent years seeking new rituals and unfamiliar prayers to soothe the suffering in his heart, but to no avail. An elder passes by and asks softly, "What are you running from, my child?" The monk lowers his head and replies, "I am running from my own pain." The elder smiles and says, "Then turn around and face it." That is where healing begins. This story reminds us that denial is like placing a layer of fine silk over a festering wound. It may look beautiful on the outside, but is devastating within. In contrast, awareness is like sunlight. It may dazzle and sting at first, but it has the power to purify everything it touches. To practice this rule, set aside a moment of silence each day. Sit very quietly, place your hand on your chest, and breathe deeply. Ask yourself with all gentleness, what truth have I been avoiding? Perhaps it is the fear of being unloved, the hurt from someone close, or simply the exhaustion of having to be strong for too long. Do not judge and do not try to fix it immediately. Just name that emotion and allow it to exist. Honesty does not hurt you further. It frees you from the illusion of control. When you stop defending and start listening, pain will no longer be an enemy, but a teacher leading the way to wisdom. Honesty is the first and most important medicine to bring you back to your state of wholeness. Do not feed toxic thoughts. The human mind is like a fertile ground where every thought you sow will sprout and shape your reality. The Buddha once taught that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. However, in today's digital age, we often unintentionally scatter toxic seeds into the garden of our souls without even realizing it. These are the moments you scroll through social media and fall into the trap of comparison, feeling envious of the glamorous lives of others, or feeling inferior when you see yourself as not being equal to your friends. Those thoughts, repeated every day, gradually become a part of your identity, making you believe that you are not good enough or successful enough. When you constantly rehearse fear in your head, your body will believe it is the truth. Every time you worry about a future that has not yet arrived or dwell on a past mistake, your nervous system responds with stress, draining your vital energy. We often take great care of our outward appearance, but leave our minds cluttered with the refuse of judgment and resentment. Remember that thoughts are not the enemy, but the way you cling to them will determine whether you are a free person or a prisoner of your own making. If you continuously water anger by recalling an old argument, you are poisoning your own peace. Conversely, if you choose to water gratitude and compassion, your inner landscape will transform into a peaceful sanctuary. Begin to observe the streams of thought passing through your mind as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky. Do not try to chase them away, and do not follow them. A simple yet powerful practice is to learn how to label your thoughts. When a negative thought arises, instead of sinking into it, gently acknowledge, this is anxiety, this is envy, or simply thinking. The moment you can name them, the gripping power of those thoughts will begin to dissolve. You will realize a liberating truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing those thoughts. This awareness creates a safe distance, helping you avoid being swept away into the vortex of inner chaos. Each morning when you wake up, instead of reaching for your phone immediately, take a minute to set a positive affirmation for the new day. Today, I choose thoughts that bring healing and peace. Consider this a spiritual commitment to protect your own energy. When you become a mindful gardener, you will know how to uproot the weeds of negativity from the moment they are just tiny sprouts. Healing is not just therapy for the body, but a process of purifying the vibrational layers of the mind until every one of your thoughts radiates the fragrance of stillness. Be patient with yourself, because a beautiful garden takes time to tend, and a peaceful soul requires persistent training through every mindful breath. Release the past and free your trauma. The past is inherently a teacher for us to learn from, not a prison to confine ourselves within. However, most of us unintentionally walk through life with the heavy shackles of old pain, failing to realize that the key to the door of freedom has always been in the palm of our hands. The Buddha left a profound metaphor, stating that holding on to anger and resentment is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. But you are the one who gets burned first. Every painful memory you refuse to release becomes that smoldering coal in your chest, leaving you feeling constantly irritable, insecure, and disconnected from true peace. There is a classic story in Eastern monasteries about two monks on a pilgrimage. When they arrived at a fast-flowing river, they met a beautiful young woman who was struggling to find a way to the other side. Without hesitation, the elder monk stepped forward, carried the girl on his shoulders, and brought her safely across. After setting her down, the two monks continued their journey in silence. However, the younger monk appeared extremely restless and upset. After hours of walking, unable to contain it any longer, The younger monk spoke up to criticize his senior for breaking the monastic rule against touching a woman. The elder monk smiled calmly and gave a reply that has become an awakening lesson for ages. "I set her down by the riverbank hours ago. Why are you still carrying her on your shoulders?" This is the reality for most of us in modern life. We do not only carry the people who have hurt us, but we also carry the criticisms, the failures, and the pains that happened long ago. We fall into a cycle of trauma bonding, constantly replaying arguments in our heads, reopening old scars, and nurturing tragic stories that no longer serve our growth. When you cling to resentment, your energy is frozen in the past, preventing you from being fully present in the moment where life is actually happening. Healing cannot penetrate a heart that is crowded with the ghosts of yesterday. Letting go does not mean you have to erase your memories or agree with the wrong things that happened. Letting go is the insight that what has passed was not meant to destroy you, but to awaken the hidden power within you. Every betrayal is a lesson in self-reliance, and every loss is a gateway to tolerance. The Buddha taught that whatever has the nature to arise also has the nature to cease, and suffering is no exception. It only persists because we continuously add fuel to it through repetitive streams of thought. To practice this rule, try a small exercise right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what weight am I still stubbornly carrying? Visualize the memories or people haunting you. Then imagine you are placing them onto a dry leaf and letting them drift down the river of consciousness. Watch them slowly drift away, neither resisting nor clinging. Letting go is an act of self-respect, a whisper to the heart that you are safe now and have the right to rest. When the past finally loosens its grip, you will find something miraculous waiting beneath: space, stillness, and peace. Let the river of life carry away what no longer belongs to you, so you can walk forward with a light, free, and awakened soul. Guard the gates of the senses and protect the doorways of the soul. In the teachings of the Buddha, the senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and mind are likened to doors leading into the inner temple. If these doors are not carefully guarded, our minds will be dragged away like wild horses without a rider holding the reins. Every image you see, every sound you hear, and every message you receive becomes nourishment for the soul. However, we are often extremely strict when choosing food for the body, yet incredibly lenient with what we allow to enter our consciousness. We filter water to drink it clean, but allow our souls to be swamped in the noise, conflict, and distractions of the outside world. The modern world surrounds us with negative news cycles and the habit of unconscious doom scrolling. Immersing yourself in sensational information or social media arguments causes your nervous system to be overstimulated, creating a state of constant anxiety. The Buddha warned that when the senses are unprotected, the mind becomes chaotic. There is an ancient story of a young student who asked his teacher why meditation was so difficult, even when sitting in silence. The teacher led him to a crystal-clear pond and threw a handful of mud into it. Instantly, the reflection of the sky vanished. The teacher said, "That is what happens when you let negative impressions enter. The pond is your awareness. Protect that water from the world's dirt." Guarding the senses is not about escaping from life or living in isolation, but about being mindful in your choices. Just as a gardener knows how to select sunlight and shade for plants to grow, you have the right to decide what kind of energy is allowed to enter your private space. Spend time near nature, where the eyes rest on gentle colors and the ears listen to the rustling wind. Choose to listen to constructive words instead of harsh criticisms. and read things that remind you of kindness rather than hatred. These are not small choices. They are the very structure that builds a peaceful mind. You can begin practicing this rule with a simple yet powerful habit. Before opening your phone each morning or when facing a new stream of information, pause and take one deep breath. Ask yourself, will this nourish or drain my energy? With just a second of asking that question, mindfulness is present to protect you. In a society that always demands attention and overconsumption, protecting the senses becomes a strong act of self-respect. When you learn to filter what passes through your eyes, ears, and words, the mind will become as clear as the pond after the mud has settled. Select your impressions with reverence and love, because what your soul digests today will shape your life tomorrow. Your peace is sacred. Guard it with all your heart. Practice daily silence. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, but the full presence of awareness. It is a sacred space where the clamor of the world fades away and the voice of truth begins to be heard. The Buddha once taught that better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. However, to find that word, you must first return to the stillness where it is born. In an era of non-stop notifications, conflicting opinions, and relentless demands, our minds are like a crowded marketplace where every thought screams for attention. True healing only occurs when that marketplace temporarily closes, allowing silence to sweep away the dust and chaos accumulated over time. Stillness is not emptiness, but restoration. It is the natural rhythm that helps the soul self-reset its balance after too much movement. When you allow yourself to settle in silence, something extraordinary happens. The chaos begins to subside on its own without any coercion. You do not need to force clarity, just as you cannot force mud to settle in water by stirring it more. Everything becomes clear when left alone. The Buddha likened a silent mind to a still lake where the stars can be reflected most vividly. When the mind is agitated, even the most beautiful sky becomes distorted through the lens of anxiety. Begin a small daily practice with at least 5 minutes of complete silence. No phone, no music, no plans. Just sit there, breathe, and let the quiet embrace you. Right now, let us perform a brief minute of silence together. Relax your shoulders, close your eyes halfway, and feel the airflow entering through your nostrils. Do not try to control your thoughts. If anxieties or unfinished conversations arise, just let them pass like bypassers on the street. Do not invite them for tea, and do not hold them back. Feel the beat of your heart and the pure existence of your body. In this moment, you do not need to do anything. You do not need to be anyone. You are simply present. Silence heals because it allows life to speak its original language. The heart will naturally rearrange what the mind cannot understand, and the body will release what language can never fully express. Within stillness, energy realigns into a rhythmic harmony, like a river finding its natural flow again after a great storm. Let each of your days have a sacred pause, a space where you exist without being pulled away by the pressures of the world. Only when the water is calm can you see yourself most authentically. Let silence become the specific remedy for your soul, and observe how your spirit begins to recover gently and effectively. Clarity cannot be forced. It only reveals itself when everything is settled. Consider this the most important appointment of the day with yourself. When you cultivate the ability to be still with yourself, you will no longer fear solitude or emptiness. Silence is the source of wisdom and the fertile ground for compassion to sprout. When you step out of those 5 minutes of silence, you will find the world around you seems fresher. and your decisions will carry the weight of alertness instead of momentary reaction. Let peace soak deep into every cell, providing you with the enduring energy to face all the ups and downs of life. Speak with kindness and the power of healing. Sound in Buddhist teachings, words are not merely sounds emitted from the throat, but energy manifested into form. Every word you utter contributes to shaping the vibrations of the world around you and the reality within you. The Buddha taught to speak only truths that bring kindness and benefit, and to avoid harsh words because those who hear them will respond with similar resentment. A single word born from mindfulness can soothe pain and mend what anger has torn apart. Conversely, a careless word can pierce deeper than any blade, leaving wounds that are hard to heal in the hearts of others and within the speaker's own consciousness. There is a story of a young monk who asked his teacher how to know if his practice was yielding results. The teacher replied that he should observe his own speech. When it no longer hurts anyone, his heart has begun to heal. This is because speech is the truest reflection of the mind. A peaceful heart will utter tranquil words, while an agitated soul will scatter noise and chaos. Imagine your voice as a river. When the water is clear, it nourishes every living being and plant it passes. But when polluted by toxicity, it poisons the very land it tries to sustain. What you say never truly disappears. It echoes back and creates your inner landscape. A crucial aspect often overlooked is the words you say to yourself. Internal dialogue is often the place containing the most criticism and judgment. When you stumble, do you offer yourself gentleness, or do you use heavy words to punish yourself? True healing cannot happen without harmony between the tongue and the heart. Before speaking, let your thoughts pass through 3 gates of control. Is it true? Is it necessary? And most importantly, is it kind? If a word cannot pass through these gates, let silence convey the message for you. Sometimes, silence is the kindest word you can offer. Long ago, there was a famous healer renowned not for herbs, but for the power of his words. It was said that when he spoke, all pain seemed to vanish. A guest asked him where the secret lay, and he smiled and replied, "I never speak from my wounds, I speak from my scars." This means his words did not stem from immediate reactions or uncooled pain, but from a deep awareness of experiences transformed by compassion. Scars are sacred symbols of growth and wisdom, while open wounds only carry throbbing and hatred. You also hold that power in your hands. Every word can be a precious medicine to close a wound or an arrow that makes it fester further. Speak gently to yourself when you encounter failure, and speak tolerantly to those stumbling beside you. This world already has too much judgment and sharp words cutting through fragile hearts. Choose to be different by turning your words into a soothing oil, carrying the scent of patience and the resonance of understanding. Remember that the voice is an instrument of karma. What it sends out, it will one day receive back. Use it as a blessing instead of a weapon. When your speech becomes mindful, your presence naturally becomes a healing energy for all living beings. Eat with awareness and sacred connection. In today's hectic pace of life, we often turn eating into a task to be solved quickly rather than a ritual to nourish the soul. The Buddha taught that even the simplest act, such as eating a bowl of rice, can become a gateway to enlightenment if we perform it with full presence. Eating with awareness is when you are truly here and now, realizing that nourishment is not only for the physical body, but also for the spirit. Food is not just inanimate matter. It is the crystallization of sunlight, the fertility of the earth, and the gratitude of countless living beings who contributed to creating that meal. The modern world is pushing us into a speed culture where eating often accompanies scrolling through phones watching television, or being preoccupied with work calculations. When you eat unconsciously, you are not truly eating but chasing streams of thought, memories, or anxieties about the future. Your body may be full, but your heart still feels hungry due to a lack of mindfulness. There is a story of a student who frequently ate in a hurry until his teacher asked, "Can you taste the flavor of gratitude?" That question stunned him. When you bring presence into every bite, you begin to feel the warmth of the soup, the crispness of the fruit, and the quiet effort of the hands that prepared them. Mindfulness turns the most ordinary things into the sacred. Recognize the interconnectedness between all things through your meal. The grain of rice you were eating once danced in the wind like golden stalks. The water you drink once fell as raindrops on distant mountain peaks. And the fruit you hold carries the memory of warm sunlight. Seeing this, your meal becomes an act of communion with life. To practice this rule, try dedicating at least one meal a day to be performed in total mindfulness. Turn off all electronic devices, set your phone aside, and eliminate all distractions. Before starting, pause and take 3 deep breaths to bring your mind back to your body. Look at the food and smile at the miracle of life laid out before your eyes. When eating, chew slowly and feel the texture, flavor, and the sensation of nourishment spreading throughout your body. Chew as if each bite is a note in a song of gratitude for existence. As you swallow, visualize the energy from the food gently radiating, healing, and awakening the cells within you. Mindful eating helps restore harmony between body and consciousness, reminding you that sustaining life is never separate from the spirit. As a master once said, when we eat in mindfulness, the sacred lies right within every crumb of bread. Let the dining table become a temple, and the meal become a profound meditation. For healing begins with how you receive life into your heart. Do not feed toxic thoughts. The human mind is like a fertile ground where every thought you sow will sprout and shape your reality. The Buddha once taught that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. However, in today's digital age, we often unintentionally scatter toxic seeds into the garden of our souls without even realizing it. These are the moments you scroll through social media and fall into the trap of comparison, feeling envious of the glamorous lives of others, or feeling inferior when you see yourself as not being equal to your friends. Those thoughts, repeated every day, gradually become a part of your identity, making you believe that you are not good enough or successful enough. When you constantly rehearse fear in your head, your body will believe it is the truth. Every time you worry about a future that has not yet arrived or dwell on a past mistake, your nervous system responds with stress, draining your vital energy. We often take great care of our outward appearance, but leave our minds cluttered with the refuse of judgment and resentment. Remember that thoughts are not the enemy, but the way you cling to them will determine whether you are a free person or a prisoner of your own making. If you continuously water anger by recalling an old argument, you are poisoning your own peace. Conversely, if you choose to water gratitude and compassion, your inner landscape will transform into a peaceful sanctuary. Begin to observe the streams of thought passing through your mind as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky. Do not try to chase them away, and do not follow them. A simple yet powerful practice is to learn how to label your thoughts. When a negative thought arises, instead of sinking into it, gently acknowledge, "This is anxiety. This is envy," or simply thinking. The moment you can name them, the gripping power of those thoughts will begin to dissolve. You will realize a liberating truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing those thoughts. This awareness creates a safe distance, helping you avoid being swept away into the vortex of inner chaos. Each morning when you wake up, instead of reaching for your phone immediately, take a minute to set a positive affirmation for the new day. Today, I choose thoughts that bring healing and peace. Consider this a spiritual commitment to protect your own energy. When you become a mindful gardener, you will know how to uproot the weeds of negativity from the moment they are just tiny sprouts. Healing is not just therapy for the body, but a process of purifying the vibrational layers of the mind until every one of your thoughts radiates the fragrance of stillness. Be patient with yourself, because a beautiful garden takes time to tend, and a peaceful soul requires persistent training through every mindful breath. Meditate on compassion, the most profound medicine. Compassion is not merely a sentimental emotion, but a powerful source of energy, a healing frequency capable of softening all the rough edges of the soul. The Buddha affirmed that hatred can never be ended by hatred. Only by love can it be dissolved. This is an eternal law of the universe. When you practice compassion meditation, you are not simply sending well wishes to others. You are awakening the deepest part within yourself, where all division vanishes and oneness is established. Modern science has also proven that cultivating compassion helps regulate the nervous system, reduce stress, and bring biological balance to the entire body. There is a story of a monk who asked his teacher how he could love even those who had caused him pain. The teacher lit a small lamp and told him to observe. The flame does not choose its object to illuminate. It simply shines because that is its natural essence. True compassion is the same. It does not demand whether the object is worthy or not. It just flows because it is the natural vibration of an opened heart. Practicing metta meditation, also known as cultivating loving kindness, is a journey from near to far, from easy to difficult, to expand the boundaries of love. Start with yourself. Close your eyes, place your hand over your heart, and feel the pulse of life. Whisper sincerely, "May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering and pain." Feel this prayer soothing the tensions in your mind, making your breath slow down and your body feel lighter. Then, radiate this warm light to those you dearly love. Then to the strangers you encounter daily but have never spoken to. Finally, direct your loving kindness toward even those who have caused difficulties or hurt you. Do not force yourself to feel warm immediately if there are still barriers of resistance. Simply allow the good intention to be present in your breath. Creating compassion will completely change your energy, frequency. Your heart will bloom like a lotus flower amidst the mud. Even if its roots lie in the darkness, its fragrance and color remain pure and unsullied. When you send light to others, you do not lose your energy. On the contrary, you are expanding it infinitely. Imagine the world as a giant web of life, where every act of understanding creates vibrations that soothe the entire system. Therefore, when you practice compassion, you are not just healing an individual. You are aligning the entire structure of existence toward a higher state of harmony. Even the smallest gestures like a warm smile, a silent wish, or patience when someone makes a mistake are all precious medicines. Compassion is not weakness. It is the ultimate strength that arises when you are no longer ruled by fear. It is the art of embracing pain with love until that pain transforms its shape. Take a moment to let your heart shine like a lighthouse in the dark night, sending light to every path of life. Because compassion is the most miraculous medicine. It heals both the giver and the receiver at once in the same sacred moment. Be grateful, even for pain. The ultimate transformation. Gratitude is not reserved solely for sunny days or favorable moments in life. The truest and deepest gratitude often begins right where comfort ends. The Buddha once taught that a wise person is one who knows how to thank not only what pleases them, but also what teaches them costly lessons. In the world of healing, pain is not a punishment but a silent teacher, a mirror reflecting the truth of impermanence, humility, and awakening. When you learn to bow before what once broke you, suffering begins to transform into wisdom, and wounds become windows through which the light of compassion can seep in. There is a touching story told in ancient Japanese temples about a young monk who had just lost everything in a massive fire. From precious scriptures and robes to his simple shelter, everything had vanished into smoke. He knelt before his master and sobbed, "Master, everything I painstakingly built is gone." The old master looked at the embers still glowing red and then spoke gently, "Look, the sky is beautiful tonight because there are no longer any walls obstructing the view." In that moment, the monk suddenly awakened. Sometimes life burns down what we cling to, not to punish us, but to liberate us from our own narrow barriers. When gratitude touches pain, a sacred shift occurs within your heart. You stop asking, "Why me?" and begin to quietly ask, "What is this showing me?" Career failures teach you the true value of effort and persistence. Painful breakups teach you how to love yourself and cherish independence. The loss of loved ones or the onset of illness teaches you about the preciousness of every breath and the fragile nature of human life. Every pain hides a lesson, and every ending carries an invitation to view life in an entirely new way. The Buddha likened suffering to the plucking and plowing of soil. Though the act may seem harsh and disruptive, it is a necessary condition for the seed of wisdom to reach the light and sprout. Try practicing a deep reflection right now. Recall the most difficult chapter of your life. Instead of avoiding or resenting it, breathe deeply into that memory. Ask yourself gently, what did this experience awaken within me that peace never could? Perhaps it taught you how to empathize with the pain of others, revealed a hidden strength you never knew you possessed, or showed you the impermanence of everything you once thought was eternal. These are not scars to be hidden. They are living scriptures written directly onto your heart. When you begin to thank even your sadness, you are reclaiming power from it. Gratitude does not deny the wound. It changes how you cradle that wound. You will no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but realize you are the light that survived the fire. Every silent thank you in the dark is a prayer affirming absolute faith in the flow of life. Be grateful for what soothed you and for what shattered you, for both are necessary to peel away the layers, revealing the authentic and resilient person within. When you can stand before your pain and offer thanks, you have officially crossed the bridge leading from suffering to wisdom and freedom. Ultimately, we realize that healing is not a distant destination, but a way for us to be present in every single moment. It is the gentle art of remembering our true nature beneath the noise, the pain, and the layers of fear. The 10 Buddhist rules we have just walked through are not rigid dogmas, but 10 doorways leading you back to the sacred stillness inherent within. Let us look back at this journey. We began by facing the truth so that the mind could become clear. We learned how to stop feeding toxic thoughts and to let go of the past so that the heart could become light. We guarded our senses, practiced silence, and spoke with kindness to protect our pure energy. And through eating with awareness, transforming emotions, nurturing compassion, and being grateful for adversity, your entire being begins to vibrate with the frequency of peace. Healing does not mean the total absence of pain, but the awakening of wisdom right in the heart of that pain. The Buddha once taught that no one can save us but ourselves. We must walk the path on our own. But when you walk with mindfulness, you will see that you are never alone. Each of your mindful breaths is harmonizing with the heartbeat of countless other living beings who are also searching for peace. If these shared words have touched a corner of your soul, please take a moment to sow a good seed for the community. You can leave a reflection or simply write the 2 words, "I return," in the comments section. That will be your small offering to the world, an affirmation that you are ready to be reborn from your own ruins. May your body and mind be at peace, your heart always be open, and your soul always remember that you have never been broken. You are always in the process of healing and wholeness.